What's up, everybody?
What is up, gamers? As Artistic says, hello, beautiful fam. Hello, everyone, on October 5th. I am Kaisa.
I am Marrone, and back out to all those beautiful people commenting how beautiful we are. It's just a digital room full of beauty.
It's a digital room full of beauty here on Daily Gaming News. What's up, everyone? How are you? Long time no see for some of you. I saw some of you only like 6 hours ago or something like that.
That's right. You do the late streams. I have to remember that. You have those late streams that go. Yeah, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. How's yours? Did you do anything cool?
It was fun-filled. Pre-production on this film I'm doing with Kika, and got some squadrons in. Officially hit Twitch affiliate status.
Let's go!
So, thanks to all of these amazing, supportive human beings. And yeah, I'm gonna stream a little bit today, shortly after the news. Gonna probably play some Fall Guys in prep for the new season and some squadrons.
Yeah, let's get it. You know what? I was playing more of The Witcher. Very cool.
Oh, nice.
Now I'm getting into it. Yo, what's up, Dramatic? Yeah, at first I was kind of confused because there's just so much plot happening, but now I'm kind of like in it. I'm like, all right, I got a feel for this game. Let's go.
Witcher is heavy-handed on the plot, so it gets you ready for Cyberpunk 2077, which we don't do a news piece on this, but for everybody wondering, is Cyberpunk going to delay? It's gone gold, so it means games going to print. It's coming out on the 17th of November, so let's get hype. Because he's right around the corner.
It's coming! But for today, we're going to start the news show by talking about PlayStation confirming PS5 fixes on two big problems on the PS4.
That is right. Things for those PlayStation 4 owners that'll be really happy about. Also going to be talking about the first PlayStation 5 hands-on videos, which show off the hardware and games, but not the UI.
Not quite yet. And also PlayStation 5 could change GameStop as we know it, so that's up in the air. I don't know if GameStop is, super relevant to the gaming industry, but I feel like a lot of gamers care, so I thought we might as well talk about it.
For sure. Also going to be talking about the Xbox Series X has revealed their killer feature, and it's great news for gamers.
Also, we'll get into how Call of Duty Modern Warfare no longer fits on a 250 gigabyte SSD. RIP.
RIP those SSDs. And hackers and Piracy Organization members have been arrested and charged for selling Nintendo Switch hacks. That is a story we'll be talking about as well.
And I don't know how big of a deal it is, but one of the people who were arrested's last name was Bowser. And so I think that's what makes it a big deal, because Bowser hacked Nintendo and is the villain there. And then we're going to get into Ghost of Tsushima, and we have a lot of news about Ghost of Tsushima Legends and New Game Plus, which is going to be out October 16th.
It is very exciting. This is actually a huge news day for a lot of big intellectual properties and the hardware. And, of course, as always, here on Daily Gaming News, what's in the mug?
What's in the mug? We would love your guesses on what's in our mugs today. Have at it. We don't reply to guesses that aren't correct, but if your guess is correct, we'll let you know.
And if you do start getting a little closer, we will. And for more broad guesses, there might be specifics necessary in order to become more accurate. So it's not just, oh yeah, you got the type of drink it is, but not the specific kind.
And no, I do not have tea today. As Kane asks, tea, Kaisa? Nah, not today.
Nah, not today. But let's talk about this information that for every PlayStation 4 owner in here, what has been fixed with the PS5 is going to be like music to your ears.
So PlayStation has confirmed that the PS5 fixes two big problems on the PS4. It's already October, yet Sony still has plenty to reveal about the PS5. While we know the console's prices, release date, and most of the games releasing alongside the console at launch, there's still plenty we don't know. For example, we have no clue what the PS5 UI really looks like. That said, we finally have some new information about the console, as Sony has finally started to get it in the hands of players, or more specifically, Japanese content creators.
Not only are the IRL images and videos making the round, providing our best look at the console and its DualSense controller, but now we have details via these impressions. So, for example, we know that the PlayStation 5 runs very quietly, something the PS4 and the PS4 Pro do not. Multiple impressions of Japan have confirmed this. In fact, one mentions the console was running in a very hot room and still made little to no noise.
Also, welcome Baron and Frosty. Thank you so much for the follows.
What's up, what's up?
So, of course, the PS4 and PS4 Pro brand brand new, aren't very loud either, but after years of use and years of dust collecting inside without being clean, they can sound like a jet engine is taking off inside your room. In other words, for now, it remains to be seen just how quiet the PS5 will be in the long term. We do know it boasts a much bigger design than the PS4 and has an upgraded cooling system, both of which should go a long way in keeping it cool and quiet.
And it totally does sound like a jet engine sometimes. It's a little ridiculous. The second improvement deals with the DualSense controller, and that is more specifically that multiple impressions are reporting that the light bar is improved and it's far less distracting. As you may know, on the PlayStation 4, not only is the light bar bright, but that way it's placed means it often reflects off the screen. And for the PlayStation 5, this is going to be a lot less of a problem.
So I think these are super cool improvements that we're also going to get into in a little more depth. And thank you so much, Baron, for the sub. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I love how it's a problem that the light was like reflecting in some people's TVs and was kind of distracting, because I thought the light was really cool. And I thought it was always funny in like TikTok videos if someone was doing like a skit with a controller, people would be like, "You're not even playing. Like the light on your controller's not on."
The light isn't on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I went as far as to do like the text. There was like this little like sticker you could get, so when the light shines through, you have text, and you could do all these custom different types of additions. So it does remove that type of variety to add, but I also get where some people just might be complaining at the fact that if your TV, it depends on the kind of TV that you have. And I remember Kai was saying he worked at Best Buy. If you know anything about TVs and the type of TV that you have, if one that's super reflective, it can be very distracting in a room where there's a lot of light sources coming in. Mm-hmm. So I guess that does make sense for those people who are sticklers about that light bar.
And I know like consoles making a ton of noise, they can be like super loud or kind of annoying. I feel like I don't really, hear my PC at all. But if it's far enough from the mic that, you won't be able to like hear any of the fan noise or anything. But I know for some people, if the fans are too loud, it also makes the machine just sound like really dated and just like really old.
It does. Like I know my brother made the joke one time when he was like, he had his PlayStation 4 on and he left the room and he came back and he didn't have his headset on with the game and he was like, "What's that?" He was just like, he started to like look around everywhere but the PlayStation because he was just so used to having the sound come through the headset, or it was louder on the TV. And when he finally heard it for the first time, he was like, "Is my PlayStation 4 about to explode? What is this?"
That's so funny. It does stress me out if machines are too loud. I'm like, is it okay? Is it overheating? Like, is something wrong with this? I wonder how many people clean out their consoles. I don't think very many. I don't know if anyone saw on Reddit, there was this one horrible photo of a bunch of like bugs that crawled into someone's PlayStation 4. Hopefully that's also improved with the PlayStation 5, but we don't really know.
Yeah, I think there's also a lot of that fear of like, if I open the console up, do I break warranties? Like, what do I do in order to clean it? But it's like, I once a month, take my PC out and remove the stuff and try to clean all the parts, as frequently as possible. So some people, they just wait a long time before they open up that PlayStation 4 and see what's inside.
That's a good point. I feel like I'd be scared to kind of open up a console too, because they're not really made to be opened up, and if you do try to clean it yourself, who knows if, you're going to break something or some piece isn't going to go back together. They're not really built, for that like PCs are.
100%. So let's see what they do with the PlayStation 5 when it comes out, if it feels like it is actually taking care of these two problems that people had with the PlayStation 4. But there is more surrounding the PlayStation 5, specifically to what a new digital edition means and how it could actually change GameStop as we know it.
So, founded in 1984, GameStop is one of the oldest cornerstones of video game retail, but in 2020, it's facing big risks as the industry increasingly turns to digital. Sony sent ripples through the industry in late September when it announced a digital version of the PlayStation 5 that has the same performance as the standard one, but would be $100 cheaper and do away with a disc player for playing physical games.
I mean, it is a departure for the gaming industry that started off with a heavy reliance on hardware and hard copies, and it signals a shift towards digital and the cloud. The move raised alarm bells for GameStop, which relies on physical games for a significant portion of its income.
In 2002, its parent company at the time, Barnes & Noble, TVT, took GameStop public. Through the years, GameStop has differentiated its business by continuing to sell merchandise such as Funko Pop toys, giving away a Fortnite in-game item as a gift with purchase, and even opening up pre-orders to the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition.
Now, if gamers were to feel compelled by a digital version of the PlayStation 5 and switch over, GameStop would face a huge challenge to its business. The company declined to comment on the risk for this story. So in September, in a 2019 interview, what we saw was that George Sherman, a CEO, had told CNN Business this: gaming as an industry could not be stronger. It's us that needs to pivot. It's GameStop that needs to make changes.
Analysts were split on whether the gaming retailer is in immediate trouble, but Sony's upcoming launch is the latest signal the retailer needs to adapt. The company reported a $111.3 million loss, that again is a $111.3 million loss in the most recent quarter, compared to a loss of $415.3 million in the same period last year. It said it will close 400 to 450 stores globally this year.
Steve Wissink, managing director of consumer equity research at Jefferies, believed that the digital consoles won't see mass adoption yet, as most gamers across the country will need more bandwidth and external hard drives to hold all of those digital games. Wissink predicts that GameStop will benefit from sales of the upcoming Xbox Series X and the standard PS5, and at least be fine for the next 3 to 4 years until 5G and cloud gaming grow more popular. Now, for now, the company will be buoyed by game collectors and those interested in trading in physical games for others, and physical copies can be traded in, but digital can't.
So Wissink goes on to say, but then after that, we really need to start talking about some of the threats: the digitization of software, the rise of cloud gaming. By the time we get out 3 or 4 years, GameStop is going to have to reinvent itself in terms of its position around physical software. So subscriptions like the Xbox Game Pass, where gamers can try out multiple games per month for a flat monthly fee, and cloud gaming subscriptions like Google Stadia's $9.99 a month could all be challenges to GameStop's business model.
And Carolina Melanesi said this, and she is a tech analyst from a research firm at Creative Strategy. She goes on to say that we're entering a kind of blockbuster era, and that is the same thing we've seen for movies and content from Netflix and the like that ended up killing Blockbuster. They are now starting to impact gaming. To survive, GameStop may have to evolve. And she went on to say that you could become just a merchandise store that is linked to gaming and could also be selling accessories, as an example. You're changing your DNA. You keep the name and you become somebody else. That is possible.
Michael Pachter, an analyst at private financial services firm Wedbush, said GameStop survived the pandemic and closing stores, and it will benefit from a new console launches, since there will be a reason for consumers to return to stores. The digital PS5 is a first for Sony, but not for gaming. Xbox has done it before by launching a digital version of the Xbox One S in 2019, which Pachter said barely made a ripple. Xbox Series S will follow the same trend, but it has lower resolution graphics and less storage than the mainstay Xbox Series X.
So Michael Pachter, who's an analyst at a private financial service from Wedbush, went on to say that people who want to trade in games will buy the more expensive PlayStation 5 and will continue to buy discs. As long as they're a version with a disc drive, there will still be discs, and GameStop will continue to sell them.
So GameStop does have one enormously valuable asset, said Wissink, the Jefferies analyst. He said that GameStop is also sitting on a database of 16 million profiles of core gamers that they have a direct connection with. And they can tell you whether those gamers play more than one game. So that's something Microsoft doesn't have, Activision doesn't have, EA doesn't have. Those companies all know their individualized box in the matrix, but they don't have a view of the entire matrix.
So it honestly just depends on what GameStop is able to do with that customer data. The company also owns the gaming magazine Game Informer, and one of its latest shareholders is the co-founder of pet supplies e-commerce store Chewy, Ryan Cohen. The stock price is $9.45. That's up 78% over the past year, which means it does reflect optimism over the next-gen consoles. Now, we know one thing about Chewy being involved is that this will build with the customer data at the center of everything. And that data could be used to push customer loyalty, repeat purchases, and subscription services.
Not gonna lie, when I think of Chewy, I think of those Chewy Quaker granola bars.
That's what you think of?
First of all, that's what I think of now. I can't stop thinking about those granola bars. But I think it's great that, GameStop has a way they can pivot by using customer data, but I hate that as a business model that a lot of these tech companies, what they really have, and their most important asset isn't what they offer as a product, but it's all this data that they have on consumers that they can sell and make a profit off of. So I hope that's not the way this is going. I've been really frustrated because, as an outsider and someone who's not a business professional or works at GameStop, it feels like there's so much that they could be doing, like selling online, being more similar to the Best Buy model. They have a lot of people who really like the GameStop brand, but they haven't, really changed their strategy at all. And it's showing that, keeping with the same strategy isn't working, and it isn't going to work in the future.
I couldn't agree more. I think the one thing with that is that they need to experiment. I mean, I feel like the evolution for GameStop should come from a place, like some had mentioned, like figuring out how to be the Amazon of gaming, like be competitive to Amazon, but also figure out how to create this digital store that gets better prices, that gets deals kind of like you see like on GOG, right? Or even Humble Bundle will have these deals as well. Like if GameStop could really pivot to working on those negotiations with different gaming distributors and developers that would entertain these types of sales for the digital platform, they could really corner the market with the amount of recognition they already do have. But also, this is a thing too that I think is something to be considered. If you could trade in a digital game and figure out how you could trade in a digital game, and they could implement that in a digital service like a storefront, they would do extremely well out the gate.
They would. I'd be interested in that. I'm sure companies would throw a fit, but if you relinquish your rights to your digital copy and sell it, I think that's the way of the future. First of all, they should be looking into that now. I also don't know why GameStop isn't doing anything with influencers. Like when we're saying GameStop could have an online store. Yo, what's up, Malore? Welcome to the stream.
Hi, Mena.
Hi. Hi, Mena. With a lot of gamers will buy maybe controllers off of Amazon, maybe instead of GameStop, and I'm thinking what value could GameStop offer? Well, maybe they could have influencer endorsements, or Ninja uses this controller, or even if this is an off-brand controller, these streamers or these gamers really recommend it, or they like it, or they think it's good to use, and I think they could really tie a lot of these personalities and the respect that a lot of these influencers command, and they could tie that into their business model.
Yeah, and there's also something to be said too, if say for example what you were just describing there, this specific controller for Fortnite. Well, somebody over at GameStop needs to make the effort to maybe get in some V-Bucks with the purchase of the controller.
Yeah.
Because if that one person just happens to get a $5, credit to their account for V-Bucks, they're going to spend more inside the game, and it's still going to bolster that recognition. I think GameStop has a lot they could pursue, and they should pursue. And like what Meg was saying, yeah, it's like Humble, but more for consoles. That type of approach and offering that kind of service, it's very easy to do these things. They just have to go for it. They just have to not sit back and be like, hey, we're just going to be this store on the corner surrounded by a Walmart or some other store, and that's where we'll be, and we'll trade you your games for an insultingly low percentage. They have to change because even after the next gen consoles, and they'll do well, of course, because that's where you'll go and buy your console. Once that surge dies down, what do they do next? They can't make it another 10 years until the next consoles come out.
No, they cannot wait that long. And with there's a lot of sales that happen with PC games on Steam. I feel like PC games are notorious for sales, but we haven't really seen that from the console market. I don't know if maybe they don't do sales as aggressively, but maybe GameStop could kind of capitalize on that and be like, hey, this is your, if you want free games, if you want discounts on games, GameStop is all, has all the down low on that information. There's so much they could do. We could brainstorm all day, honestly,
we could.
On, potential strategies for them.
And we're not even in this business to that degree, and we're talking about these ideas that could be, like you said, they could be entertained and they could be worked out, and hopefully someone over there at GameStop either watches DGN or comes to their senses and starts to just say, guys, we need to take these risks.
Right, please. I mean, I don't really have any deep personal ties to GameStop, but it does kind of feel like it's the end of an era if GameStop does close. And Blockbuster closed down and went out of business, but Netflix is doing better than ever because Netflix was able to pivot, and Netflix used to have, physical copies that they would mail to you. Like, I think there's a big opportunity for GameStop here, especially as we're hearing the video game industry is just growing bigger and bigger and pulling in so much money. There's no reason that I think GameStop needs to disappear with that.
100%. But continuing on our conversation regarding the PlayStation 5 is that recently, there have been these hands-on impressions with the hardware as well as the games. However, we still haven't seen the UI.
So Sony has invited a number of Japanese publications and YouTubers to get a closer look at the PlayStation 5. It's the first time we've seen the PS5 hardware outside of leaked images from Taiwan's National Communications Commission. A variety of publications have now published detailed hands-on images and videos of the PS5, providing a more realistic look at how big the console is and gameplay of titles like Astro's Playroom and Godfall.
So, 4Gamer published photos of the PlayStation 5 standing both vertically and horizontally, demonstrating how the stand works in either position to hold that console in place. Now, some of the photos also show how the PS5 will cool itself, and 4Gamer notes that it wasn't able to hear the fan inside the console or feel much heat exhausting from it during its limited time with the hardware.
Although these PS5 previews are clearly in a very limited environment, one of 4Gamer's photos does reveal a mysterious silver latch or bolt hidden in the top right section of the PS5. Sony has said PS5 owners will be able to expand storage with regular SSD drives in this new console, but we've yet to see how this will work in reality.
This latch could be how you access the ability to expand the PlayStation 5 storage, with it presumably allowing the side to be removed. And there's no obvious way to slot an SSD into the PlayStation 5, so we are waiting for Sony to come out and confirm how it will handle the expandable storage.
We've known for weeks that the PS5 is the biggest console in modern history, and Dengeki Online helps put that into perspective with the shot of the PS5 next to a large TV. It's clear if you want the PS5 to sit vertically in a TV stand, then you might need to clear some room or use the console horizontally. The PS5 laying flat looks like it should fit into most TV stands.
Now, alongside the console itself, the Japanese publications and YouTubers also got a closer look at the new DualSense controller. The new design includes the haptic feedback, which is replacing that old rumble technology, and adaptive triggers that can adjust the resistance of the triggers for different gameplay effects. Sony has even included the microphone inside as well as alongside a USB-C port.
We've seen Sony demonstrate the PS5's pack-in game Astro's Playroom a number of times before, and the company has used it again during these hands-on videos to highlight the DualSense controller features. AV Watch also reports that the confirm button on the PS5 will be X instead of O going forward, which means Japanese players are going to have to retrain their body's muscle memory to get used to that significant change. There's little else to report on the controller just yet, but 4Gamer does provide a good look at the different colorful LEDs on the DualSense.
Now, none of the videos of publication were able to show the PlayStation 5 dashboard or UI elements. This is unfortunate because these remain a mystery despite Sony teasing what appeared to be a boot experience or main PlayStation 5 dashboard all the way back in June. Sony has also promised a full redesigned PlayStation 5 dashboard with no pixel untouched.
We're still waiting to see exactly what Sony does with the new PS5 UI, and hopefully we'll get a glimpse at it before the November 12th launch date. Also, what is up the Crow Show?
Crow Show, what's going on, Guff? I can't agree more. So many awesome folks in the chat. We did mention right at the top of the show that Cyberpunk is gold, so we are super hyped for that. But why? Why have we not seen a UI for this console yet? I mean, we're so close to its release. We already know the Xbox Series X and S, the way their design is. Why haven't we seen this for the PlayStation 5?
I don't know why, especially because I'm sure it's done. The little bit of we've seen, it looks really good. It looks really clean. We haven't really seen much from it. While this is up, I just got to say, I love how you can change the LED colors with the DualSense. I think, just changing it to red or green or purple, does make a big difference in, how it feels personal. But
yeah.
the UI that we've seen so far, this is a 10-second teaser is kind of all we've gotten so far of the UI is just this, and it looks really cool, but this is all we've seen.
And then it just kind of it does a quick little boot, and then you don't see anything more after that. Yeah, that's what You would think that the UI would be something you would show right away to be like, this is how it's different. This is how we're seeing it. I mean, have we not actually gotten to that point? I can't believe that we haven't. They're just still trying to do the whole, let's hide it, and release it until the week before. I don't,
It's a secret. Legend says, I love not seeing the UI until you have it. It's fun to be surprised. I would say that's probably a cool moment, but maybe that's just ruined for me because I, consume so much internet content that I'm sure I'll see like a full demo video of the UI, before I get my hands on a PS5.
That's true. I can understand that. Like, I want to be surprised, and I want it to have that moment of like impact. I'm also, I think, as a future consumer of something next gen, you're making that investment. You need to know it's different. You need to know what features of UI make this experience more streamlined, easier for me as the consumer, because there are some complaints I have with the PlayStation 4 UI and navigating through it that could be a little frustrating. That if they've gone to the lengths to solve those problems or expedite the time in between, searching for different types of games or moving through your apps. I would just love to be able to see it in action, personally.
Me too. The Crusher says, I got time off approved for PS5 and Cyberpunk release date. Stoked to have some time off to enjoy next gen. Go, let's get it. Get your personal time, get your next gen time, undisturbed, time off work. That sounds great.
I love hearing that. And continuing talking about next gen, we're actually going to jump into the next conversation, which is the Xbox Series X. And it looks like a feature that, honestly, for us gamers, could be pretty happy about.
So for the first time, the upcoming generation of consoles will be embracing solid-state storage. Both Microsoft and Sony will have built-in SSDs, 1 terabyte for the Xbox Series X and 825 gigabytes for the PS5. And the advantages are obvious. Solid-state drives are quicker, meaning games will load and perform far, far faster than before.
But the elephant in the room is drive capacity. Now, while the current generation can just get about away with 500 gigs to a terabyte, the move to 4K gaming will make install sizes larger. And while current gamers can just plug in a cheap external HDD, those planning to do the same with supported solid-state drives are in for a rude awakening when they see the prices they are currently going.
And I think for Microsoft and the Xbox, it's $220 for like a terabyte SSD, which we were appalled at. But
yes,
fortunately, Microsoft does have a trick up its sleeve in order to keep install footprints down. Jason Ronalds, which is Xbox's director of program management, said on a podcast, even beyond the hardware, we've actually made user interface improvements to make it easier for you to manage your storage. He went on to say, as an example, one of the new features that we're adding is actually if a title chooses to support it, the ability to selectively uninstall different components of the game.
Goes on to say, so let's say you play a campaign as an example, and then you want to focus exclusively on multiplayer. If the developers choose to support it, you can actually uninstall the campaign itself, so you can be more in control of how you're actually using your storage, so that you really get the most benefit out of the available storage that you have. Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare! So it sounds pretty similar to Sony's plans with the PlayStation 5, which is just as well, because AAA titles are getting larger and larger. There are larger install footprints. It's getting out of hand. We've already heard that launch title Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Launch Edition will weigh in at 105 gigabytes, and even current gen games are ballooning in size.
Games Radar has a running list of the worst offenders on the PlayStation 4, and an installation of Call of Duty's Modern Warfare is now 175 gigs. Destiny 2 is 165 gigs. Red Dead Redemption 2 is 105 gigs. Elder Scrolls Online's 86 gigs. And Battlefield 4 is 71 gigs. And that alone wipes out 73% of the PlayStation 5 storage.
And that's not even accounting for system files. We now know that the Xbox Series X operating system will take up nearly 20% of the 1 terabyte available, and you would imagine Sony has similar bad news coming down the tracks. Given that expansion options for both consoles are currently on the expensive side, here's hoping that selective installation is something that's widely adopted by developers. And I've got to say, as someone who is dead set on getting a PlayStation 5 digital edition, after seeing those numbers and seeing that you could only have one of those games on the console, now I'm like, should I just get the disc one, the one with the disc drive in it?
So I'm in that kind of that same line of thinking, because I have the reservation down for the digital one. I am leaning towards the get the solid state drive when it's ready and and just go through the external route. I really want to believe that those prices are going to drop, and they're just going to have to drop because I think the demand's going to be really high with the next gen consoles getting bought up as fast as they are. That if you have them at those prices, it's just not gonna. No way. There's no. I just don't find the average consumer being like, I'll shell out $200 for external storage.
No, I think it's too much. You know, you might as well just get a Switch at that price. With the digital edition, I only really play like maybe 2 or 3 games at a time, so there's no need for me to have, you know, a full library on deck. But like, it seems like I can't, you know, have too many games on it at once, especially if these games are, you know, so big. I feel like that's just kind of like a liability. And it's a little bit concerning, especially because, you know, there's got to be memory like for the operating system on there, or, you know, for the programs, you know, for whatever else. Although I do really like, you know, being able to uninstall just like the campaign or just a multiplayer from the game. I hope we see that moving forward, because when we're talking about games like Black Ops and how the zombies mode looks like it could be a standalone, well, technically it could be if you just uninstall the other parts of the game.
100%. If you just want to play zombies on Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, you should be able to do that. I remove everything else but that. And it was like, we have a story that we're about to jump into with more regarding Call of Duty, but when it comes to these games and they're being this massive and this push towards cloud gaming, what I'm hoping we're not being subjected to is almost this choice of a premium. Either you need to upgrade your storage devices, and that comes at a premium, or you need to move over to cloud gaming in order to play these games more. Because if that's what they're starting to do, and they're forcing us to go down that route, there's gonna be backlash. There just is, because as gamers, we don't like that. We notice it when it's happening right away. The community gets very outspoken of it when you start to put up these paywalls and these gates to things that weren't present before, but now all of a sudden are.
That's definitely true. It feels like, you know, gamers are being forced into cloud gaming or into buying more storage or into these subscription models. And, you know, I think there's a difference between some of these products just being good and like cool new things versus just another way to get you to spend money and actually providing value. I also get really wary when I hear about 5G or, you know, GameStop's gonna go under when 5G comes out. Well, apparently there is like already nationwide 5G, but I don't think 5G is working as intended, or the infrastructure still isn't there, or I don't know.
It's just not there.
It's not there. I don't know anyone who's like, wow, my phone internet is always so fast. I don't know anyone who said that.
My understanding of 5G, and this could probably be something we do like a deep dive on regarding this topic a little bit further for all of us, because it benefits all of us, not just as gamers, but also just in our everyday life, is that the towers giving out 5G aren't yet the 5G towers that they've been talking about is 5G internet speeds. So those are still being built. Certain areas may have it just because they've been able to get those specific towers up and going. But yeah, we're still a little ways out of experiencing that. What does that mean? Like, what speed is that like? And yeah, it needs to get here a lot quicker than it is.
It does, and 5G does not give you the coronavirus. I know that was some whack, like, Facebook conspiracy that people were talking about. I have no idea what that's about, but we just gotta mention it.
It's a real thing. People burning down the 5G towers, thinking
it's gonna give. How are we gonna get cloud gaming if 5G is gonna?
Somebody was burning down their microwave in the 50s, believing that it was probably giving them cancer, or was communicating with aliens, or the government was listening in. So, yeah, humans are humans.
Humans be humansing. Another thing that be doing its own thing is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Unfortunately, it no longer fits on a 250 gigabyte SSD.
No, it has currently broken a size of more than 250 gigs, as it was pointed out on Twitter that this latest update pushed it that high and now will not update if you have one. A 250 gig solid state drive, no updates.
This is what happens when one game contains a single-player campaign, the cooperative special ops mode, and an entire constantly updated live service battle royale mode, Warzone. On console, players can choose to uninstall specific modes and packs, and back when the Call of Duty games were available on Steam, some of them had similar options, but players on Battle.net have no such luck, and you've got to have the full game and all the parts whether you want to or not.
Yeah, so real talk. Why does it seem like Call of Duty, when it comes to PC, they just don't care? And they just seem to just have this disregard for what people have been complaining about for quite some time. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no speed to fix the problem on their end. They just continue to let it be a problem.
They do, and it's just frustrating to hear. I didn't know that on console you could already uninstall certain parts. That was kind of news to me, and it did feel like a slap in the face. It's like, well, why can't I just do that on PC? Like, why doesn't my memory matter, huh? And also, when I'm increasingly like hearing from a lot of people or a lot of gamers, especially people who aren't really streamers, they're like, well, my like machine isn't good enough to play certain games. I don't have enough space to play certain games. You know, I don't have the specs up there. Like, a lot of people are really trying their best to play games. They're just restricted as humans are by, you know, by money and by specs. And I think just making the game more accessible will serve you well. There's no reason to kind of make it difficult for consumers.
None. I mean, all I can envision now is that you get the Call of Duty console because the only thing it has stored on it is Call of Duty. Like, I mean, you can't store any other game. It takes up the whole console. It's a permanent game system for one game. I mean, that's the size we're talking about now. And until they address this issue, I mean, I think you're just going to continue to see people, which is starting to happen. People are just being like, I just deleted the game. I can't. I want to play other games. Like, I want to play this with my friends, but it takes up so much space. And the process of having to download that thing, which for some people can take an entire day to download in order to play, it's such a hassle. It's like, I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, and I've definitely, I think I currently have Warzone on my PC, but when people are like, hey, want to hop into some Warzone? I'm like, oh, I uninstalled it because I didn't really play it and it took up too much space. I guess I'll reinstall it. So I think I just like have it. But, if I need space on my hard drive, Warzone's going to be the first thing to go. Like, I don't need Modern Warfare on that. Legend says the COD Pro scene is console-based, so PC gets the short end of the stick. That used to be the case, but with the new season, the pros are actually moving over to PC in the future.
But they still got to use a controller.
So that's an interesting move. I wonder, what that's going to mean for PC players, if they're still going to be playing on the controller anyway. Does that really make that much of a difference?
Totally. Yeah, and this is I'm sure the frustration and the excitement towards the next gen consoles is having a console that can, still be like a PlayStation 5, knowing that Call of Duty has been optimized for console experience. Mm-hmm. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X is probably going to be a really amazing experience you haven't yet to see. Like you would get to see when playing on PC. But with regard to current gen and that weight, I mean, I don't know if I think they just have a huge name, but after a while, places with a big name can eventually become not the status they once had in the gaming industry. We've seen that happen time and time again. And if they continue to kind of have this mixed review feeling about what Call of Duty means, is it just money hungry or is it about the gamers? Mm-hmm. If that message becomes more clear, which I feel like it is becoming more clear these days, I wonder what that could mean for a game that had millions of players, like 50 million players at one point. And when the Black Ops Cold War drops, people are just like, well, how big is the file? Okay, it's 150 gigs, 200 gigs. Well, I can't play Modern Warfare and Black Ops on the same device because I just don't have the money to continue to pay for upgrades.
I was going to ask, is there any update on your account status?
None whatsoever. And I was like doing some more research. There were a few other streamers that actually got hit by this, and they couldn't get any favoritism. So the favoritism falls somewhere within Warzones, within Activision. I did talk to some others who suffered this early on, and they didn't get their accounts back, even though like our friend Calf got their accounts back. Mm-hmm. And they were all saying the same thing. Like, some people just have a connection and they're able to get it back. So I'm probably not going to spend another dime towards Activision.
So
because they've done that.
So for those of you who's not following the story, there are a lot of bans in Warzone. There's a lot of cheaters in Warzone, but a lot of accounts where users haven't been, cheating or hacking or anything do get swept up and kind of caught in that, wide net that they cast, and there's no way to appeal your account, which terrifies me and makes me not want to spend money.
Yeah, that's why they do ban waves. That's why they do large amounts of bans at the same time. It's their way of getting around the whole, it's one person banned you, let's go and investigate. When one person just clicks a button and 200,000 people lose accounts, you can't really do anything about it.
So hopefully we hear an update. I mean, that makes me hesitant to, spend money in the game, or it makes me even less inclined, with the huge download file, and also, who knows if my account is going to get taken from me. I feel like, Call of Duty...
That is because, and I did tweet this, and just want everybody to know, and I don't know if this is standard language for terms of service, but their language addresses something that I would be curious about to see in other games, that you can be banned for any reason and for no reason. I don't know exactly what that means, but all that means is, if someone bans you, literally anything is on the table for why it happened, and you can't do anything about it.
And that, super sucks, and I feel like, these games are still going to be massively popular, even though, I feel like the company can kind of get away with doing this kind of stuff because their user base is so big, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Yep, they definitely can, but who was not able to get away and was taken down was a group of hackers and Piracy Organization members that were arrested and charged for selling Nintendo Switch hacks.
So 2 members of this console hacking and piracy organization, known as Team Executor, sounds like the Pokemon, but not spelled the same way, have been arrested and charged with fraud, one of whom is named Gary Bowser, which is pretty much the main reason why this is getting headlines, because Bowser was hacking Nintendo and got arrested, haha. So French national Max Lorne and Bowser, originally from Canada but arrested in the Dominican Republic, allegedly led the group which makes a line of tools for cracking lockdown gaming hardware.
So, Team Executor is a sophisticated operation known best for its Nintendo hacks, including a USB device called the SX Pro that allows the Nintendo Switch to run pirated games. The group's for-profit motive has made it controversial in the modding and emulation communities. This was reported out of Ars Technica that because both those communities tend to focus on open-sourced efforts and shy away from selling products that could draw attention of both console makers and federal authorities, Team Executor also makes hacking tools for the Nintendo 3DS, NES Classic, and other devices.
Nintendo is well aware of the group, having filed 2 lawsuits against the organization back in May with the primary intention of shutting down third-party retailers that resell Team, I guess it's Executor, but it looks like Executor. It's probably Team Executor. I think you're right. So with the intention of shutting down third-party retailers that resell Team Executor's products online. Nintendo also has a controversial history of its own involving aggressive litigation over unauthorized use of its IP. In more recent years, Nintendo has gone after so-called ROM sites that host ripped game files, and other sites and web stores that traffic in pirated content and related hardware tools.
Now, the Justice Department has gone further. And this is what was said. This is Brian C. Rabbit. What names? Brian C. Rabbit, the acting assistant attorney general of the Justice Department's criminal division, said this in a statement, that these defendants were allegedly leaders of a notorious international criminal group that reaped illegal profits for years by pirating video game technology of U.S. companies. These arrests show that the department will hold accountable hackers who seek to commandeer and exploit the intellectual property of American companies for financial gain, no matter where they may be located.
I love Legend's comment, first Peach, and now this. So the Justice Department tries to emphasize the difference between Executor's activities and not-for-profit emulation or console hacking. The release says Executor attempted to protect its overall business by using a wide variety of brands, websites, and distribution channels, according to the indictment, and that the group cloaked its illegal activity with a purported desire to support gaming enthusiasts who wanted to design their own video games for non-commercial use. But the primary purpose of the group's activities was to develop and sell for-profit tools for running pirated games, and additionally to help create and support online libraries of pirated video games.
Both of the men face severe prison time if convicted, including 20 years for each charge of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering with up to 5 years for some of the lesser charges, and there's been no trial date set.
So, The Verge, who reported on this, is serious about wire fraud, that they mentioned it twice, that they could be hit with wire fraud and wire fraud. This is really intense for gaming. Like, you'd think that, like, a murder happened or something, the black market of games and the piracy that goes on with them.
It's pretty heavy, and I love Legend's comment there regarding that. They used ROMs on their own SNES Mini because they lost the Star Fox original files. It's like,
wow.
Wait a second. Let's
Wait.
think about this for a minute. This is where I get it. You know what I mean? I get we have to come down on top of people like this who do stuff like this because it's a slip. If you allow it to happen, it could grow rampant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is this place where I'm like, Nintendo has been very strict for a long time with any of its games and any intellectual property that it's had. That they've gone as far, they've gone as far as to stop games being developed on Dreams that were created by people that were just the alternate versions of their games created in Dreams. And that was enough for them to be like, you're not allowed to make that Super Mario 64 clone inside that game that isn't our game, but technically is making a game that is our game. Can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're so aggressive. It's kind of like Disney, Disney cracking down on a lot of stuff on the internet. With those clones, at first I was like, okay, like, I get it. If someone could make an accurate, Mario clone, people might be playing that for free instead of buying the game. Sure, crack down on it. But with a lot of these games and Dreams are not quite exact, so it's kind of more like fun, hey, look, I made this, it looks like Mario, but the physics aren't going to be quite right. It is still going to be a little bit clunky, and it's not quite the same thing anyway. It's more of like a fun, like, literally like fan art, fan video game made of it. That's not going to be perfect. That's not going to be nearly as polished. So it's kind of an interesting move that they're so strict on it. With this hacking and this piracy, I guess, I go by the book, and I'm such a goody two-shoes that I totally forgot that, like, pirating games was a thing, and, having these, like, consoles that are, like, jailbroken or whatever, are a popular thing. I'm really curious as to, how much money there is in that market, especially as game prices and, the price of consoles keeps going up.
I'm also curious, did he legally change his last name to Bowser before starting this criminal organization? I'm just curious if Bowser is the birth last name or it's money because he knew if at one day he got caught, he wanted to draw some attention.
This article almost seems like it's out of The Onion or something with the other, person like and then Mr. Rabbit came in.
Yeah,
like,
Mr. Rabbit came in and he had Mr. Rabbit, the attorney for Nintendo.
I'm like, is this fake news? Yeah, is this a bedtime story? Is this like an old legend? Is this some lore happening here?
You know what's not fake news, though, Kaisa, and is a legend?
Yes.
Is Ghost of Tsushima's Legends, which drops on October 16th, as well as its new game plus.
This is super hype news. So from the PlayStation blog, it is reported that PlayStation and Ghost of Tsushima says, thank you so much for your support of Ghost of Tsushima. We are so appreciative to all of you who have shared your Platinum Trophy screenshots, photo mode captures, fox petting gifts, and beautiful fan art with us, as well as all of your thoughts about the game. PlayStation says, we've been listening to your feedback, and we're excited to release a major update for Ghost of Tsushima on October 16th, which is version 1.1.
And that is a free update for all Ghost of Tsushima players, and it brings the launch of Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which is a brand new co-op multiplayer mode inspired by Japanese mythology, as well as exciting new updates and new game plus for the single-player campaign, and we are going to go through the details.
And so on your screen, you'll also be able to see the trailer for Legends. It looks super cool. So they mentioned, as they announced in August, Ghost of Tsushima Legends is a brand new online cooperative multiplayer experience that will be a free update for all Ghost of Tsushima owners. A classic element of some of their favorite samurai films is warriors standing together, ready to fight as a team.
They say that in Legends, you can fight side by side with your friends, which is such an important part of fulfilling that samurai fantasy in a whole new way, and they are excited to hear from everyone who teams up with their friends and jumps in.
Ghost of Tsushima Legends features 2-player story missions and 4-player survival missions, as well as a raid that they're going to release in the weeks following launch. After you've downloaded version 1.1 of Ghost of Tsushima, you can visit the PlayStation Store from your PS4 to download a free unlock for Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which will allow you to play. Keep in mind that an internet and an active PlayStation Plus subscription will be required to play with other players.
Now, once you have that version 1.1, you're going to notice that a new character at various towns and locations in Tsushima, Gyozen, the storyteller. Now, he's heard the rumors about the Ghost of Tsushima, but he has a different perspective about what's actually happening in the homeland. Gyozen is the author and gatekeeper of the stories you'll find in Ghost of Tsushima Legends, so when you talk to him, he'll be happy to share one of his transportive stories about the ghosts.
Speaking to Gyozen will give you access to the Ghost of Tsushima Legends lobby, but you can also get there directly from the title menu or the pause menu, or by accepting a PlayStation invitation from a friend.
So we are going to jump in and talk about the classes within Legends that you are going to be able to pick from, which are 4 classes. Each one has their own unique advantages. So when you start Legends, after a short tutorial, you'll choose which class you want to unlock first, and as you rank up, you'll unlock each of the remaining classes.
In addition to each starting with their own unique ability, each class can unlock an alternate ability as you progress, as well as earning class-specific charms and ranged weapons. While playing with friends, you can mix and match classes however you'd like, whether that's a party of 4 all playing the same class, everyone playing as a different class, or any combination in between.
So, one of the classes that we know that one of the classes is the Samurai, which is the players can run straight towards any combat and stay there, sustaining their health while chopping enemies down left and right. And if you're overwhelmed, you get to use that Hashman's Fury ultimate attack to slash through enemies in a flurry of strikes.
Another category is Hunter. So as a Hunter, you can stand on the edge of combat and snipe enemies before they even see you. You can also use explosive arrows to slow down groups, and when the combat gets really fierce, the Eye of Uchitsune ultimate attack will unleash multiple arrows straight at your enemies' heads.
You can also play as a Ronin, because Ronin players will be able to revive their entire team with the Breath of Izanami ultimate ability. And you might play a Ronin because you want to help your human friends, or you might do it because the Ronin class is also able to summon a spirit dog. And yes, you can absolutely pet that spirit dog.
You can also play as an assassin. If you prefer doing massive damage with a single attack, you're going to love the assassin. The Shadow Strike ultimate attack will allow you to teleport across the battlefield and directly strike your enemies. If that's not intimidating enough, wait until you see the terrifying masks the assassin gets to wear, which I think, in this 1.1 reveal trailer, they showed a little bit of those cosmetics, which look sick.
Oh my god, this is such a huge update. So the story missions that they talked about, Ghost of Tsushima Legends story missions, are designed for 2 players, and they take you through Gyozen's stories about what's really happening in Tsushima. Now, when you unlock higher difficulties, you're going to face new encounters, tougher enemies, bonus objectives, and obviously greater rewards.
There are also survival missions. So in survival, you can team up with 3 other players to fight off waves of enemies while defending different locations in Tsushima. You and your team can activate blessings to help yourselves, like ignite enemies or summon a spirit bear.
Spirit bear!
The longer you survive and the more bonus objectives you complete, the more rewards you'll earn.
And then there's the raid. Now, this is something I'm really hyped about, and I think we're going to find out a little bit more on later, as you're going to need your skills, your top-tier gear, and a great 4-player team to be able to survive in Io's realm. The raid is an epic 3-part adventure that will require excellent teamwork and communication to overcome it, and it will be released in the weeks following the launch of Tsushima Legends.
There are also some other features. So Ghost of Tsushima Legends also has a few features you'd expect from Ghost of Tsushima. They have a robust photo mode that is still present as long as your teammates opt in, and you'll be able to show off all the new masks, armor, and emotes that you've earned.
Legends is packed with news cosmetics, and they're all unlocked through gameplay without any microtransactions. Looking cool is important, but Ghost of Tsushima Legends gameplay progression really centers around the gear you've equipped and the techniques you've unlocked. You're going to be rewarded with increasingly rare and powerful gear as you take on greater challenges, and you'll unlock new techniques as you gain experience with each class.
They've also added some new trophies for Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which will appear in a separate section of your trophy list and do not count towards Ghost of Tsushima's Platinum trophy.
And regarding the single-player campaign updates is this, that in addition to Legends, 1.1 will include new updates for the single-player campaign, and this came based on the feedback.
There's also going to be New Game Plus. So if you've already beaten the game, you'll find the option to re-embark on Jin's journey in New Game Plus mode. You'll start New Game Plus from the release to the open world shortly after Jin's initial confrontation with the Khan. You'll keep all of the techniques, gear, and vanity items obtained in a previous playthrough, and difficulty will be increased to provide a new challenge, but you can still adjust it if you like.
So you're also going to find yourselves with new features like a vibrant red mane for your horse and a unique saddle. There's also new extremely powerful charms that will be available to help Jin unleash devastating attacks and may change the way you play. And you'll also be able to unlock additional upgrades for your sword, bow, and armor.
They've also added some new trophies for playing Ghost of Tsushima on New Game Plus, which will also, again, appear in a separate section of your trophy list and don't count towards the Platinum trophy.
And then another thing that they went on to talk about was this new feature called the Ghost Flower Merchant, which is exclusive in New Game Plus, and you're going to be able to earn new types of flowers, the Ghost Flower. This new type of flower can only be earned in New Game Plus, and it is accepted by a mysterious new merchant that you'll be able to find in Araki. If you complete a tale or activity and already have the reward, you'll earn Ghost Flowers in its place. So even if you've completed Jin's journey before, it's still exciting to explore Tsushima once again to collect as many ghost flowers as possible.
You can exchange these flowers for new armor dyes and other vanity gear only found in New Game Plus, featuring much more elaborate designs than those found in your first playthrough. The merchant will also offer an array of powerful new charms intended to create new combat experiences, empower existing playstyles, and allow you to customize your experience for even greater challenges.
And just at the end, they added the other little features that are there is you're going to be able to find, you can enable armor loadouts, which allow you to assign all charms and vanity items to each armor set to quickly swap between loadouts to match your playstyle and role-playing preferences.
This update sounds so sick. Legend says it's nice, this is free. They could easily charge for it. This could easily be like a DLC, expansion pack, something. I love how it's just going to be baked right into the game.
100%. I mean, that's when I was reading this, I was like, man, this Legends mode feels like For Honor, but Samurai, and it's free. Wait, what?
What?
That's crazy. I hope, because I would be the type of person to say, I'm happy to contribute to Sucker Punch if they release some sort of like paid skins thing at one point. Like, hey, here's some DLC that you can buy, because part of me is like, it's crazy to think you get this entire standalone experience from that game with friends and just the progression of each class that you can continue to work on. How many extra hours have now just been added to the Ghost of Tsushima experience?
The multiplayer sounds awesome, and it seems like they've really put a lot of, love and care into it with all the cosmetics, with the different playstyles, with the classes. It really seems like a standalone game. Like, it could have been released as kind of an offshoot of, like, Ghost of Tsushima Legends, a new game experience. No, it's just part of the same game. I think that's mad cool. I think this also kind of echoes, a lot of game developers just wanting people to play their game more than anything. And I think, hopefully it's going to add a second wave to the player base of this game.
And I can't wait for what this title looks like and is, on the PlayStation 5. I mean, they've been talking about it. There was a video I saw. I didn't know if it was accurate, so I didn't want to throw it into the story. But they showed what Tsushima would look like at 60 frames per second. And I was like, I want to see it actually at it for realsies, because I still think it's just going to be breathtaking, because it was already breathtaking on the PlayStation 4 Pro. I would just rather see it in its authenticity, in its authentic stage as a 60 frame per second game. I
agree. I would love to see kind of, like a refresh or kind of, a visual upgrade, for the next gen to also, have it to experience this game in its full glory, like similarly to what they've done with Spider-Man. They realize the game looks good. It plays really well. It's a showcase of the console. People are going to be wanting to play it. Might as well, if you can, brush it up for next gen. Not that it even really needs to be.
No, and just think about that. You get the co-op missions that you can play with a friend for the story, and then you get the just survival mission with up to 3 friends and yourself, so 4 friends total playing together with these different classes, and raids. And this raid feature is like this 3-stage, super intense, super hard, experience that it's like, wait a second. How many raids are there?
Right.
Like, is this going to be a thing where, a couple months from now, the newest raid for Ghost of Tsushima Legends comes out? I mean, if they start to go this route and it starts to gain its own presence as this, better version, it's succeeding where a game, and I keep referencing it, For Honor failed. I think they could really continue their momentum even into next year and a couple years down the road if they focus on Legends, kind of like Destiny focused on their whole raid system and community-based experiences.
I think so too. It seems like they're really set up, for success with having the multiplayer, really live on and really, carry a lot of player base and a lot of people playing. Since we're right at the end here, should we say what's in our mugs?
Kane, your last guess. I guess I should give it to Kane. I guess because it's not exactly that, but it is just a caramel latte. So I will. You know what? We'll give the point to Kane. We'll give half a point to Kane for the caramel macchiato coffee. I was like, I wonder if anybody's gonna guess caramel. I was like vanilla and all these, and then there was like walnut cream coffee. I was like, I've never heard of this. It was walnut cream Irish coffee. I was like, wow, I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of that either. I swear chat should make a drink list because some of the drinks you guess, I'm like, oh, that sounds really good if that were a real thing.
Yeah.
For me, I'm drinking...
Nobody would guess this.
No, I'm drinking Tang. Which I said isn't quite juice because it's like fake orange juice. It's that powder you mix with water. I knew it was kind of a trickier thing to put in my mug, but I was like, someone might guess it because I've had this on stream like a good handful of times.
It's so funny. She told me earlier, she was like, it's Tang. I was like, I don't think she guessed this. But now it's on the table. You know what I mean?
Now
so
it's on
I feel
the
like
table.
Tang's gonna be covered all the time.
Now it is. Yeah, Tang. It's kind of like Kool-Aid, Gatorade, kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Fake orange juice.
Tang is Tang. That's how I've always.
Tang is Tang.
It is. But that does bring us to the end of the Daily Gaming News Hour for this Monday. Oh my God, we've had so many amazing stories packed into one day.
Yeah, wow, we really made our way through it, through a pretty long script. Thank you so much for joining us. This was super fun. We love sharing gaming news with you. Please keep us updated, submit to the mailbag things you want to hear, things you're interested in. If you think there's any cool directions the show could also go. I know some of you have been following up of, hey, are you going to do a Squadrons event? Are you going to be casting a tournament of sorts? So please keep those ideas coming. We'd love to keep the show fresh and new and exciting.
Absolutely. And to everyone liking, following, subscribing, donating, thank you so much. Like I say time and time again, and I always say it, and I will always continue to say it, this is not possible without all of you amazing human beings that stop by, join in on the conversation, and just are as passionate about gaming as Kaisa and I are.
If you ever miss our live shows, we do have reruns that we run after our shows, and we also post videos on YouTube. And we are live from 1 to 2 p.m. every weekday Pacific time.
And then if you guys want to come hang with me a little bit later, about an hour from now, I will be live on my own stream, probably playing some Fall Guys in prep for the season drop tomorrow, as well as some Squadrons. I did play multiplayer, and, oh, man, that's a game. I don't know. Guff was like, maybe you need to get the flight stick, or I need to get the flight stick. And I was like, maybe I need to get the flight stick. This is challenging.
Wow.
So, yeah, it'll be cool.
So that's at twitch.tv/Marrone__. Be sure to go give Marrone a follow. Turn those notifications on. He just hit affiliate.
Hey, and I can't thank the DGN family enough for that. So.
But for Daily Gaming News this October 5th, thank you so much for joining us. I am Kaisa.
I am Marrone, and we will see you all next time.